it's something whether we do or not, we have a process called advisory, which is a quick 15-minute session where you can come through. And even if it's something which we can't help you to, maybe we can then direct you to the correct place to go through on campus to be able to get that help. We also do things like career assessments. We do things like therapies. We do all kinds of different support things and refer to different places so that you can get the support that you need. I mean, sometimes people think, you come to varsity and you're a good student in matric, and now suddenly you're going to be this great student at varsity and you're going to ace through. But varsity isn't just about your studies. If you think about varsity, it's also about living away from home, looking after yourself, laundry, food, making new friends, learning your way around Joburg if you're not from Joburg. There's a whole lot of different things. And it takes time, not only to be able to adapt to the environment, but time to adapt to managing your time and to managing your life and to trying to figure out how to prioritize everything. Because obviously you want to finish your degree or diploma and you want to be able to get this amazing, wonderful job and have a wonderful career. But at the same time, you're also at a point in your life where you want to have time for your friends, right? And you want to do different things and you want to engage with different people and be involved in different things. But you'll notice after the first few weeks and the first tests start to roll out that, oops, I haven't been spending enough time on my studies, right? I haven't been managing my time better. Now suddenly I'm in a little bit of trouble. And this is when you realize that you need to try and get yourself back on track. You may also notice that you may come and have no friends, and then suddenly you make a few friends, but these friends may be people that maybe engage in a lot of partying or drinking or drug taking, and suddenly you realize that you have to engage in activities or things that are not you. You're not comfortable with it, but you're doing it because you want to kind of keep up in the group. You want to be friends with these people. You want to fit in. I mean, we all want to fit in, right? We all try very hard in life to try and fit in. We don't want to be that person standing on the outside. We want to be with the group. And I think this is where this particular topic comes in, which is a little bit about drugs and alcohol and the type of things. And I can tell you that I'm a psychologist and dealing with lots of students in therapies. The students that come through with problems, not only do I admire the fact that they are able to say, I have a problem, but the fact that they realize that they have a problem. Because guys, sometimes it starts as simple as, okay, on the weekends, awesome, we're going to go drinking this weekend. And then you lose Saturday night and you lose most of Sunday recovering, right? And then Monday, you've done nothing to kind of catch up with all of your studies. But then what happens is your body starts to get used to this habit and you end up having to drink and drink more to be able to get to the same state of drunkenness. And the more difficult your studies get and the more you fall behind on your work, the easier it is to want to say, you know what, let me just drink my problems away. Or it may be drugs, it may be marijuana, it may be taking cocaine, it may be crack, it may be many different things. Then you guys are laughing, but it starts with something small and then it builds. And that's what addicts will tell you. It starts with something very small. It starts with the wrong group of friends. It starts with feeling like you don't belong in this world, not belonging in Joburg, not fitting in at UJ, not fitting in with your course. You then start doing badly in your first semester test and you say, you know what, it's all downhill from here. I've already written off this semester. Things are going to go bad this semester, but next semester I'm going to be top of things. But then it's already too late because you already start to become addicted. You already gotten into this pattern of behavior. Remember, we're human beings and we find comfort in habit, right? So once you start a bad habit, you continue on with that habit. It's really difficult to be able to break that habit. It takes a conscious effort to be able to do it. And that's why I say I really, really admire people when they come through to PsycAD and say, you know what, I think I may have a problem. I think that I'm starting to lose control of some parts of my life, and I feel like I actually need someone to be able to help me. What can I do? And that's where PsycAD steps in, whether it be with giving you therapy and giving you the skills to be able to help yourself, or if it's gotten too far down the road, being able to refer you based on your social income and based on the support that you have in your family to relevant places and people that can assist you in being able to break this habit so that you can be your best you. I mean, I always tell my clients that don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to yourself. If today I'm a little bit better than I was yesterday, you've done good for yourself. And if you have like a little journal or a little book for yourself as you go along your life journey, and you read back 2 months ago, you should be in a position where you are saying to yourself, you know what? I can't believe I was like that 2 months ago, because I've moved so much further now. I'm so much better. I've developed so much more. So I think this is what today is about. Today is about being aware of what that journey is. And I think this is what our guest speaker is going to speak to us about where that journey starts to going down the wrong path. But if you are on the wrong path, it's not the end of the world. How to get back to the right path and how to make your life a success. Someone that I have with me here is a gentleman called Kagiso Dikobe, who is a PR student. And he personally has experienced people around him in the area that he has grew up in and in the area that he's still currently in, going down this particular path. And what he has for us today is a song that he has developed that kind of illustrates and shows what this journey is. So I am going to now introduce you to him and give him to you to do that particular song, which I think he may be doing twice, if I'm not mistaken, because it's so beautiful. Do you want to ask questions now? Does anybody have any question that they'd like to ask me?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
When you go to psychiatry, who do you talk to?
Okay, so when you come to psychiatry and you want to see someone, this is the process. You come to reception and you say, I would like to see someone to talk to. You don't tell them what your problem is. You don't have to tell them. That is your right for confidentiality. You just say, they'll ask you, is it personal or is it career related? Because obviously they know which person to direct you through. And if it's personal, you just say it's personal. Then we have people on a process called advisory, which are those short 15-minute sessions that I told you about. So you would then go with the psychologist who will sit and say, how can I help you? What's going on? And you would then tell the person what your problem is. The person will then, in that session, decide what type of service you need. Whether the problem is resolved in those 15 minutes or whether you need to be booked for a psychologist. And what will then happen is that booking process will then happen afterwards. So you will then be directed through. Does that answer your question? Okay.
You wanted to ask something? No, I was showing you that. If you want to change from one course to another one,
yes,
can it also happen for you?
Okay. What we do is we do career counseling. So what we can do is we can decide whether we need to do face-to-face career counseling with you, or whether in addition we also need something called a career assessment, okay? A career assessment is a formal assessment which is completely scientific, completely unbiased, which you do on our computer system, and we then analyze and tell you what course you should be studying. What we will then give you and help you to come to is a recommendation of what you should possibly be studying, but obviously also taking into account your grade 12 results, because not everything is possible points-wise. It is then your responsibility to then try and find out with the faculties to try and work out whether you can change this particular course, and obviously if the current course that you're doing, what credits you could possibly take through. Because you also want to try and not lose too much of time. However, I always say to people, right now, a year or two of repeating something or a year or two of changing course seems like a big deal. But in 10 years' time, if you're doing the right job and you are in the right field and you are happy, that year or two means nothing. It's not a big deal.
Don't you think that process of checking which course you should be doing
yes,
should be applied during orientation?
That process should actually be done already in grade 9. We call it the subject choice assessment. In grade 9, you should already be having that assessment so you know what you want to study and you know what subjects to take. Then again, it sometimes should be happening in grade 11 so that you already know in grade 11, end of grade 11, beginning of grade 12, what you're going to apply for. Because the problem is once you've already applied and you are in your system, it's very hard to move courses because there aren't places available. What's also nice is if you do this, if not in grade 9, in the beginning of grade 11, you already mentally know for yourself. I'm applying for varsity with my end of grade 11 marks. I want to study this course. This is what the requirements of this particular course is. These are the marks I need to get. So do you understand? You're already goal orientated and then you know where to work for. Anything else? Yes,
With your psychiatric services,
yes,
my girls brother wants to come here next year.
yes.
Can we also use the psychiatric or must he first be a student?
Look, psychiatric services are available to UJ students and the public. To UJ students, they are free. Unfortunately, for the external public, there is a payment aspect related to it. However, the advisory sessions are free. Those sessions are not charged for. If there are therapies or assessments that needs to get booked, we also have something called the sliding scale. So if somebody says to us, I'd like to access your services, but I can't afford it, then what we do is we get them to provide documents like 3 months bank statement, proof of income, etc., etc. We look at what that person can afford, and we then only charge them based on what they can afford. So if it means that person can only afford 30 Rand versus 400 Rand, then we will charge that person 30 Rand, just to make sure that we can also help our community at large. Anything else? Yes.
What time does psychiatry close?
Oh, that's a very good question. Okay, so Psychiat opens at 7:30, and our services generally start from about 8 a.m. and services end at 4 p.m. Yes.
So what about me saying I'm still on campus at 8 o'clock and I urgently need your services?
At 8 p.m. Okay, we have something called a 24-hour crisis line. Okay, the 24-hour crisis line is a number that you can call at any time, and there is a 24-hour, we have our intern psychologist on that line. There's someone 24 hours that you can speak to. So that person will then counsel you at that particular point in time and contain you for the evening, and then will refer you to come through to the offices in the morning and book an appointment so you can have face-to-face counseling as well. Can I give you the crisis line number? It's available on the Psychiat webpage, but can I tell you guys, we are really big on Facebook and Twitter. Okay, so our Twitter handle is Psycad@UJ, and our Facebook thing is Psycad@UJ. So my advice to you is go to our Psycad@UJ page on Facebook, like it, okay? And then you will not only get all of our posts and our informations of things that are happening. So for example, today on APK, we have the accounting career fair, and we have about 20, 30 companies there recruiting people, chatting to people, trying to help them out. You will know all of our events. Give you our crisis line number as well. So we have a new number. It used to be on an 0800 number, but we've now moved to a cell phone number because we had a lot of dropped calls that were occurring. If you phone the cell phone number, you can give them your number and we have the airtime to call you back, okay? Our number is 082. Do you want me to wait till everybody gets paper and pen? Okay. And if you come to the Psychiat offices, you'll get a sticker like this from us, okay? Which you can stick on the back of your card, which makes it a bit easier. So the number is 082 054 1137. Let me repeat it again, 082 054 1137. And as I mentioned, there's someone on duty 24 hours a day, so you should be able to get assistance and a bit of containment if something has happened, because sometimes things happen and we kind of just need someone at that particular point to just speak to. So that was a very good question. Thank you. Anything else that anyone else would like to ask? Yes.
So, I wanted to ask, does Psychiat have internships, like annual internships for students at UJ?
Okay, we have internships, but our internships are for intern psychologists. Okay, so these are students that have finished their masters. Part of the requirement of becoming a psychologist is once you finish your masters, you have to do a 1-year internship. And that's where we take in psychologists. So this year we have 13 of them. We also take in intern psychometrists. So for psychometrists, once they do their 6 months course after their honors, they then have to internship, and we have 10 of those as well, which do our intern psychometry work. And once they are finished with us, they then write something called the board exam, and then they register with the Health Professional Council, and then they are qualified. So in terms of other internships, in terms of students, assistants, and things like that, unfortunately, we don't have capacity for that because our work is so confidential. Our workers, everybody who works with us signs a confidentiality oath. What happens in therapy between me and my client stays between me and my client, unless they're threatening their lives or somebody else's lives, or there's some kind of a court case. So because our work is so confidential, we don't really have a huge influx of people, and most of the people that work for us are permanent and trained in how to deal with people's emotional needs. Any other questions?
You said talk about career as a career training, but you also training how to apply for a job or something.
We have a career portal where companies advertise jobs. So if you come to a career center, you can access that, and we can show you how to do it as well on your own PC. We also do CV writing and cover letter skills and interview skills as well. So you can come and book appointments for that, which is very important if you're in your last year, especially how to write a correct cover letter, what are companies looking for. So that we also do.
Do you think companies check your Facebook accounts?
They may. We have 2 Facebook accounts, one which is PsyCAD at UJ.
Your Facebook account, and you someone apply for a job.
They may be. I think they very well may be. And I think that's where you also need to be careful about what you put on your page. Remember that your page is your brand, it's your image. So if you're applying for jobs, you need to be very careful about what you are putting on that page. You would also want to be careful to ensure that what you're putting on that particular page is the way in which you want to be portrayed. So if you're applying for jobs, you would also be careful about what you are wearing on your profile picture and on some of your pictures on your Facebook. So I think that's a very good question. Any other questions?
I think we are ready to
Okay.
introduce the
Okay.
speaker. This is we need some more chairs. This is our facilitator. It's and it's
Hi everyone, Darylene is here. Okay, so we've just been chatting a little bit about PsyCAD and some of the services that we have in the interim so that we can introduce you. So this is Darylene, who is a well-known El Dorado Park community leader and anti-drugs activist. And she's the founder of an organization called Sharing Without Shame Wellness. And she's gained world acclaim in 2013 because she wrote a letter to our president, Jacob Zuma, drawing his attention to some of the massive problems that are created by the proliferation of drugs in El Dorado Park here in Joburg. So her efforts have seen her winning various awards from Crimeline, Lead SA, amongst others, and being voted one of the Star's top 100 South African changemakers in recent years. And this letter that she wrote to Jacob Zuma then prompted him to visit the area, and he also committed that they will try and actively deal with the problem in this particular area. I'd like to introduce Darylene, and I think she will take it from here.
Thank you very much. Wow, I'm a bit unsettled. I think I prefer stay.
Okay, that's okay.
That's fine.
That's okay.
I don't quite know where to start or what is it that you want to hear from me. I know a lot of people, there's different questions. How did you get the president to come out? What is happening now? Did it help? So I always like to hear from our audience, what is it that you would like to hear? Do you want to hear my personal story, why I did it? Do you want to hear what's happening today? What is it that you guys want to hear? What is it that you are interested in?
What motivated you to start the organization? Share Without Shame.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone else? Is that what everyone wants to hear?
why did it happen that we stand here today? Why did we feel to contact you to come to talk to us on the specific thing that you make us aware of and see you as a person addressing that problem?
Okay. I think always when it comes to sharing my personal journey, it's a very emotional journey for me. And I have yet to get to the point where I address or I speak to an audience without getting emotional. I don't know how many of you come from areas where drugs are rife and are aware of some of the signs and symptoms that happens. I know many a times when you look through on the internet and when you page through magazines, all you see is people showing what an addict looks like. You see someone sitting there with a Zol, or you see someone standing there with a pipe or whatever, and you see a sign that says no to drugs. That's what we used to, eh? And we often just hear about addicts. But we never really have an opportunity to get into the homes of addicts. And there's never really an opportunity to focus. Okay, I'll just give you 2 minutes. Fine, fine.
Because they live stream
So I must stand
for the camera.
there.
Is that fine? Okay. Okay, I think I can continue now. And like I said earlier on, we often focus on the addicts and what they are doing and what they're doing wrong. And we often focus on we need more rehabs for the addicts, and there's so much focus that goes into looking at addicts. And people forget there's a whole entire family that gets affected by drug abuse. My journey started 6 years ago. And I share today with other parents the things that I had missed, whereby maybe today I wouldn't have found myself. Where I'm at. Maybe if I had come home and spent more time with my family, and if I'd had dinner with my children, this wouldn't have happened. Maybe if I had sat around the dinner table and made eye contact, I would have noticed that my son had smoked a Zol, like you call it, because his eyes are all funny and his speech is slurred. And I can see some funny eyes here today. I would have picked up on that. Maybe if I had paid more attention in his room, and if I had taken note of all the lighters where the front part of the lighter is off, I would have realized that you actually use that lighter when you're smoking what they call today the lolly, the tuck. If I'd paid attention to all the sweet packets that was laying around, I would have known that eating this much sweets, it's just impossible. But I thought nothing of it, because what's wrong with eating sweets? I thought nothing of the fact that sometimes he would be up until early hours of the morning watching TV, up and downing in the passage. I thought, just a sleepless night. And I thought, he's at home. It's okay, as long as he's at home. But those are the signs and symptoms that I missed. The sleeplessness that's brought on by tuk. The eatlessness. No, mommy, I'm not hungry now. With dacha, it's something else. You eat all the time, depending on the drug. I missed all of those things. My life became unmanageable. I didn't know if I'd make it to a friend's wedding or a family function, because there were nights when I would be walking the streets of Eldorado Park looking for my boy. Because as a mother, it is my responsibility to make sure that when I lock my front door, all my kids are inside. So many parents today have given up. They lock their doors because they don't know what to do anymore. When I wrote that letter to the president and I addressed him as Dear Dad, today many people laugh and they tease sometimes and they said, really, Jacob, your father? But they don't know the pain and the space that it came from. I addressed our president as Dear Dad dear Dad, because I believe when you call upon your father, he drops everything and he goes home, irrespective of whether he had a meeting in Japan, in where. You will leave whatever you are busy with when your child or your daughter calls you and they say mommy or daddy. And that was the intention that I wrote that letter with. And I explained to him, because I had done everything that I possibly could. You know, in the community, they say, send them to a private school. It's the area that would help. I did that. He was expelled for drugs at the school. People say, take him to the best rehab. I did that. I made loans upon loans for rehab. Rehabilitation starts at 20,000, 25,000 rand. Who can afford that? I eventually lost my job. I was tired of being called into the office every other day asking, why were you out of work last week? Why didn't you come to work for 2-3 days? I was tired of feeling humiliated. And my boss saying to me, but I thought your son is sorted. And here I am again saying, no, he's not. I was tired of waking up in the morning on my way to work and finding that your hairdryer or your GHD is gone. I was tired of waking up and you had, you know, as women, you plan your outfit and you plan on wearing a certain pair of tackies and you wake up and it's gone. Who can live like that? And then you find the very people in your community actually bought those items. I was tired of living a life that felt as if though I had buried my son. Yet I just see an image of the person that I once knew. That's what it feels like to live with someone that is on substance abuse. You dearly, and this is I quote from the letter, you dearly, 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 as mothers and as fathers, you dearly miss the person that you gave birth to. The bubbly person, the friendly person, the loving person, the person that you used to lie on the bed with and make jokes. Because that is no longer what you see when they're on drugs. You get sworn at. You get thrown at. You have fights like it's a stranger. And it is with that that I decided, I'm not going to fight for my son when he's 6 foot under. I'm going to fight for him when he's alive. I'm going to fight for someone whilst they're still here. And many people ask me, are you not afraid of the drug dealers? Are you not afraid that they will come after you? And I say, no, I'm not. God has given me a special, and I don't know where it comes from, anointing to fight this cause. I believe that without sacrifice, no great change will come. Great change comes with great sacrifice. And I wrote that letter and I asked the president to intervene. I said, Mr. President, you need to come and get your hands dirty in our community. It is not possible for mothers to stab their children. It is not possible for mothers to say, I wish he would be dead. I'd be better off. Do you think God would punish me, Darlene? Those are some of the words of the mothers that would be in pain, that would get beaten up by their children at 2 o'clock in the morning for a 5 rand. That is what drugs is doing. And many of you will disagree with me here, like I'm standing. But there's actually 15 recovering addicts sitting amongst you that will all say, we started with Dagga, we started smoking Zol. And then it moved on. There's many of us sitting here that's on Nyaupe, that's heroin laced. And we don't know how difficult it is to get off it. And how we end up stealing and how we end up sleeping on the streets. I believe that no person wants to be an addict. Who wants to sleep on the streets? Who wants to steal for a living? Who wants to get rejected? Who wants to feel rejected, humiliated, and isolated? And people frowning upon you all the time. Who wants that life? A life of nothing. A life of being worthless. Who's opted for that life? I have Andre sitting in front of me here. I remember the day we got Andre. He said to me, you know what? I didn't have any place to sleep and I was sleeping at a friend's house and he made me sleep on the bed. And his girlfriend walked in and she said, how can you make him sleep on the bed? Is that the road that you want to take, that you prepared to try? It's not a road for anyone. I am proud to say that I have used my voice for something that I believe in. I am proud to say that I once felt helpless, and I took that shame and that feeling of hopelessness, thinking that it's going to take someone else to change my situation, and I stood up for what I believed in. And today you see 3 years later, Paraguana Hospital has its first detox center. Eldorado Park has its first community house where we keep kids that we find in the odd hours of the morning that's addicted to drugs. I am pleased to say that the justice system is now looking at revising the laws when it comes to substance abuse. I am pleased to say that we are looking at categorizing the drugs. Anything is possible. People say to me, how did you do it? How did you get the president there? If you are determined about something, I am too. I've got no titles. I don't have a lot of money. I didn't know anyone. But I believe when you're determined in your heart to make a change and to make a difference, that you too can do it. You don't have to wait for your parents. You don't have to wait for government. All it's going to take is for you to take a stand. As I'm standing here today, and I'm rushing because we're out of time, I look at the youth of 1976, and every year we commemorate the youth for standing up so that we can be sitting here today. And we salute the likes of Hector Peterson and all those guys who fought for us against the old apartheid system and oppression and for education. And I look back today and I think, South Africa, we are faced with a new struggle. A struggle that is wiping out the youth of this country. And what are you as the youth doing about it? I am pleased to see today, because I always worry about who's going to be our doctors, who's going to be our teachers, who's going to be our learners. Addiction has taken over. And what do? It's your problem, it's your problem, it's your problem. Because it hasn't come knocking on your door. Do we only take a stand when something happens to us? What about the likes of Nelson Mandela? Every year we make such a big thing out of Nelson Mandela Day. But are we really portraying those values? Are we sacrificing of ourselves to make it easier for the next person? His wife was a widow, yet he was alive. His kids didn't have a dad, yet he was alive, fighting for you and I. And today, what do we do with what we have? We abuse it and we don't appreciate it. I am going to ask the students in this room this morning, there's just a few here. So many people aren't aware of the fact that there's a yellow ribbon that represents the stand against breaking the stigma against drug addiction. There's a red one for AIDS, for HIV. There's a pink one for cancer. We see Pink Cancer Day. We see come 1st of December, the red ribbon is all over. Buildings are wrapped with the red ribbon. Do we see this yellow ribbon anywhere? And it is wiping out your neighbor, your sister, your brother. What are you doing to break the silence and the stigma against drug addiction? What are you doing to confront your fellow student in this room saying, are you ready to make a change in your life? And I'm going to ask those students this morning, I'm going to challenge you because we mean business. We are in the business of saving lives. If you are on a substance, I'm not here to crucify you, to point a finger. I'm here, it's okay to say it's okay. Don't let drugs be your last choice. You have another choice today. And make the right choice. We can help you if you want to make a turning point in your life. Don't take it for granted. Many tears have gone out for you. That is just part of my story of what it's like, what it was like to live with someone who's on substance abuse. You don't sleep, you don't eat, you become like a drug addict. You sleep all day because you're too depressed. Who sleeps all day? Drug addicts. You don't eat Who doesn't eat? Drug addicts. You borrow money from people that you don't know how you're going to pay it back to them. Who borrows money and makes loans without having money? Drug addicts do that. We end up doing the same. We wake up in the morning, we scream, we shout, and we swear and we curse. Who wakes up in the morning feeling aggressive, swearing and screaming and cursing? Drug addicts. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dereline James, and I'm introducing myself as a mum in recovery, a mum recovering from being addicted to a son's addiction. I now choose to use my space of helplessness and hopelessness to help you and to help us take our country forward. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much to Dereline for sharing that with us and for giving everyone insight on what it's actually like to be in that process. I think we sometimes just think about, in terms of what I told you about psych-ed, we're thinking in isolation of that drug addict, of that particular person who needs help, but we're not thinking about the family and all of the other people that are going through the process with that particular person at that particular point in time. I'd like to hand over to Hegiso, who is going to... Okay. Are there any questions that anybody has that they would like to ask?
When are you guys coming back?
When you invite us.
Mine's not a question, but a comment.
Okay.
I have a brother of mine who's in prison. He was selling drugs. We went to Parktown Boys, doing drugs there, got excluded, and went to rehab, I think, 2 or 3 times. And it just kept going back to drugs, to cocaine, and so cocaine as well. I just want to say I relate because there was a point in our lives where I could not leave my phone and live in the lounge because my parents wasn't steal it. It's all the TV, it's all DVDs and everything. And I think people forget to think about how much affects around that person, even more than the addicts themselves. Because you're constantly on watch, constantly there to try and take care of your things. So you're at home, but you're at home because you don't feel comfortable, you don't want to with this person. He's in prison. I think he's serving a 15-year sentence. Started 3 or 4 years ago. It's something that broke my parents really deeply. It broke the entire family. But this is someone who made a choice. And this is someone who had great opportunities in life. He went to good schools. He was well taken care of. So I think it's very, I think it's stupid on some of us to think that because you come from a township where you come to a certain school and you can drive, they're everywhere.
It happens
If you go to Bromfontein, you get offered joints in the club. You're in varsity at Reds, it's there. I think we need to start talking about values in South Africa.
Absolutely.
What are our values as a society? If we say we value Ubuntu, then what is Ubuntu? Why is it that we have our neighbors selling drugs to our brothers and our sisters? Why is it that we have the person who goes to church with you offering you drugs at church? It happens. It's there. It happens. So I think we need to start speaking about values. How do we then change the value system of South Africa to one that cares? Because my brother doing drugs is not that my neighbor's son doing drugs as well. So it should just stop this mentality of it's your problem, not mine. And start looking at ways in which we can rebuild each other as a nation and stop this mentality of no issues, wars, because that is breaking South Africa as it is. So I have to say those couple of things and say I really relate. And it's something that's still very emotional with my family. It's still, it's still an ongoing conversation. But I think if we look at the value system, so a lot of things from rape to drugs would be somewhat mitigated.
do. If God has purposed it in your heart that you want to stop, you can stop. You
Right now, pilot example, pilot like that, to stay up. There's this thing now, CAT. It's the Indian that you will stay up the whole night and be alert till the sun comes up again while you're studying at the point. And then now, I want to know, do you know CAT and what are the side effects of CAT?
can I ask Llewellyn to answer that?
Okay, last year, June, I was also writing exams. And because I couldn't sleep and I couldn't focus and study, so I also tried to get it crystal meth. And just to try to get it working, to get it studied into my mind. And what happened was, I got everything into my mind. And as I went to the exam rooms and went to write on a daily basis, I thought that I aced everything. 5-hour paper, I would do it in 20 minutes. But at the end of the day, the results was I failed everything. So it really doesn't help, bro.
Failed what the exam?
Yes.
Oh. So that was the side effect.
The side effects of it.
Yeah.
Like it's progressive. It's progressive. I started out with weed, 1, 2 zones, and so I started out with it. So it eventually progressed to a crystal meth, whereby you don't sleep, you awake for the last. When I went into rehab, I was awake for about a month and 2 weeks. I haven't awake. I haven't eaten in a month and 2 weeks, and you know. So that I can say the side effects. And like mentally, like I can't focus, but I can't focus for long hours and all that. So it really affects me. There's a lot of side effects to get in crystal meth.
Can I just ask Ricardo, Ramon, can you just share quickly? Yeah, your story?
My experience on the CAT, this school for CAT now that we know I'm feeling yes, that's all.
Ramon?
It was nice to meet them. Because we, in the class, we use it to.
I think that the person that's asking the questions is on something at the moment. That's why he's being so rude.
Every night. So, hanging around with the wrong people and either is out of steam, people get fed up. And get to their life. And at the place of work, there is working too much with. So, rather, the answer to your question, where you can have a get, even jail to conclusion for it. Finish.
Thank you. Can we have another person
Next
asking a
question,
question?
Yes.
You know what I think everything is towards this thing the most? It's the people you have about it. I also smoke weed. And one thing my friends used to tell me, you can control it, you never get addicted.
Can you stand and just speak to everyone else? Because I think you've got valuable input.
What they usually tell you, that like my brother, I also smoke weed, man. What my friends used to tell me, you can control it, that's what they tell you, you can. But there's that time whereby you can, for me, I used it to relax, you can. There's a time whereby I don't have money, I don't have weed. I can't sleep, you can. Because biologically my body is already used to sleeping hard, you can. I have nightmares that time. If I sleep and I sleep, I get nightmares, you can. So like you see, it's a process that if you have about something, is that you're going to write a test and you hate the lecture, you're going to fail automatically. But once you love the lecture, even if you hate the subject, you're going to pass it because of the behavior. So if you believe that, I can smoke cat, how can I put it, occasionally. Occasions, they don't help, man. Because you're going to end up, like you told, jail, 6 feet under, or paralyzed.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Okay.
What is CAT? Can I get Andre?
Kit, actually, I never used Kit. I went straight to Crystal Net.
Okay.
So I won't be able to-
Can you face the crowd?
Yes, you
No,
can ask.
but actually, I never used Kit. I went straight from Tapa to Crystal Net because I think Kit was too big.
Okay. Any one of the guys want to answer there? What is CAT?
It's a white powder which you get in a plastic bag, a small plastic bag of government prices like that. Or in Colorado Park, I know that it's from
Guys taking photos.
Depending on how much you are, maybe it's for 2 or 3 guys, nothing a bag. You throw everything out and you can make maybe each of you a line and you snap it there. And it's a drug that you play it more and more and more when you use it. And the side effects they forget, like from my experience, it's nice the feeling, like once it goes up your nose, like it will last for like 30 minutes and then you get depressed, you get the feeling of depression and tired and you don't feel that joy anymore. After say 15, let's say it was 15 minutes, guaranteed if you smoke now a bag, after that 15 minutes, it starts making you feel people get suicidal because of it, because now you don't have another feeling for another day. So you start and it leads to it's a gateway drug. We are like DAPA. DAPA is also a gateway drug. You start with DAPA, eventually you want something stronger. It's Mentex, which is no good DAPA. So you crash get and then the DAPA is no longer doing it for you. It stimulates your brain and stuff like you think it's stimulating your brain. So now you want a stronger stimulation. So now you're gonna crash now Mentex store and you're gonna throw it now in your DAPA, and then that's not even gonna work for you. It's another gateway drug. So all these drugs they work together to destroy you. And you think once you know yourself that one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. There's no way that you can recover. But once you tell yourself, don't start with that one, then
Thank you, Shailen. Ronald, you wanted to say something?
About the care situation,
Keep it brief.
We get like daily on a daily basis. When I started to get weak from, then I had to go to progressive using crystal, the glory, up in my nose. And the side effects, what it done to me, it was really, really, really bad. I started to hallucinate. I got mad. I was starting, you can ask my friends as well. I used to see things that wasn't there. I believe that people wanted to kill me. I was crying and I was so scared I almost killed myself. By the grace of God, I got down my friend over there. Well, he inspired me to come to sharing without shame, and I'm still here. I'm now 70 days in recovery, and by the grace of God, I'm taking it one day at a time. Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions? Yes.
I'd like to ask, okay, I have some music friend and a friend like my friend. Okay, like the feeling or the expression they have on their high, I can say, I don't know, but I stay with them and chill with them almost like every day. And when we have experienced and they're studying and they're high, they make it look so easy. Like they're doing everything. They just sit and they're not high. I just want to know, I would just advice on how to resist, because I can really say it feels quite nice. Because they're just sitting there, relaxing, and they're just resting, like studying. And they sit and they relax, and like, oh God, this is so easy. And then that means you can really stress, like, can't get it better.
Can I say something? And I'd like one of the guys in recovery to also respond to her. You know what? They say You're going to pass that test today. You're going to get that degree tomorrow. You're going to get your qualification. You're going to walk into your doctor's rooms. But for how long? But for how long? Eventually, you will lose everything. You will lose everything. You work hard to get there, but you're going to lose everything. How many people, you look at drug addicts and you look at people look at Whitney Houston. Look at Whitney Houston. She's had it all. Was it worth it? Look at Lebo Mathosa. Was it worth it? I'd rather fail a test than to fail at life. That's my advice to you.
Do we have any other questions? Okay. I think Kagiso would like to introduce himself and then also he's prepared something beautiful for us today that he would like to share.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kagiso. Okay, I'm just gonna keep a long story short. I was raised in a neighborhood where, you know, we were surrounded by people who do drugs. Even in my family, we had those. We still do, you know. But there's one thing that I'm gonna tell you guys is that everybody has a choice. You know, I grew up in that world, but I made my choice, and today here I am. I never did any drugs or anything, you know. And most of the time, people get affected by family problems. Like me, I never had a father figure all my life, you know. But even though I never had a father figure, me having to become a man at a young age, that didn't affect me. I made a better choice. So whatever situation that you go through, it doesn't matter. Everybody has a choice, and you can make the right choice, and you know, you'll make it. So with me, I never had anybody to talk to, so I used to express my feelings through poetry, and poetry turned into music. So today I do music, and there's a little something that I want to do for y'all today, you know, and I hope you guys will listen. Okay. Look, I was born in 96, I never knew what's life. I kept breathing, cause man, everything was right. But everything started changing when I was seeing the light. Mom and dad used to fight a lot, and I got it in my heart when I saw my dad beating my mom right in front of my eyes. Fast forward right now, all I do is cry, cause I've been thinking about the things I could have done just to help my mom. Now she's thinking that her second son don't love her. It's crazy how she gave me love, and I didn't appreciate all the things she's done. I only realized when I'm 18 that she's the one who's got my back. Or is it because of my father's death? Growing up was really hard for me, but I want to thank my mom for holding on for me. I just hope that she will always stay strong for me as I walk through this lonely journey. She's the one for me. Yeah. Look, so what happened to the real me? That's what they've been asking me lately. It's so crazy how my life turned G. Yeah, everything is so different. Even my own mama told me, boy, you're so ignorant, inconsiderate. You're so busy chasing all the sense. Is that gonna make you rich? Is that gonna make you right? How you gonna sleep at night knowing that you can provide for your own family? I don't want it to be your own enemy, you hear me? Brothers, that's real, I don't wanna lie to you. So if it happens that I fall, what am I to do? I never thought of anything because I don't know anything. This is my only dream. This is the only thing that I know, damn. But it's do or die. Man, it's do or die. Damn. Shit is crazy. My father's death, yes. My father's death, no. My father's death, one thing I can't let go. I was still young, bro. Only 10 years old. Fast forward, my only father figure was my uncle. Some other nigga stabbed him to death. He left his earth, and I was alone, feeling the pain, starting to stress. That's when I saw the devil in the dress. I started to change, started being strange, started to blame God. Why do you take the people that I love from me? So if it happens, I'm a father, will I ever be a good one? Because I never had one. Look, I was raised by my mom, it hurting. Sometimes I feel like I should rather close all the curtains, but that's not possible. I got a good God, and he's my whole world, nigga. He my whole world. Damn, it's crazy. Look, sometimes I just look in the mirror and ask myself if my time is near. Nigga, that's my biggest fear. But if it happens that I die tonight, remember I was here and I lived, touched so many souls, and I gave, but I had to go. Look, and you can never understand though. And you can never change the past, yo. I gotta keep the vision down. My peak gave me so much wisdom now. Glad to see my mom, it's a blessing. She never gave up on me when I was so much depression. Damn. I wanted to go away. The more I knew one thing, the more I wanted to stay here. When I gave up, she was the one to pray. When I loved, she gave me back. Nigga, you
Wow, inspiring. I'd like to thank him for sharing that with us. You could see that came from his heart and his soul was in there. And I think that we're all so much richer for hearing that and being a part of that. I'd like to thank everyone for coming through today. I think that we've learned a lot, and I think that we've all been left, as I said, with what he's said, but also with what you've shared with us. I think we have an awareness. I think we are leaving feeling like we want to not only empower ourselves and help ourselves if we are sitting in the situation, but those around us. And I think we've realized that it's not just a them problem, it's an us problem. It's an everyone problem. And I think that we've really, really been richly benefited by today. Thank you so much for coming through.
So everyone, can I just ask you to go onto our Facebook page, Crystal Sharing Without Shame, and go like our page and just put on there how you felt through today, your contribution, what needs to be done, just inspire someone, give a word of support on there, Crystal Sharing Without Shame, or you can follow me on Facebook, Dereline James, or on Instagram will be better, Dereline James. Thank you very much.